All right, NAIA football fans, this is Cory Thorpe back with another edition of the NAIAF Ball Not Quite Live show. That's right, we're still having internet issues, so we're going to record this and post it out a little later on tonight. You should be seeing it fairly quickly because obviously I can't talk forever. We are presented by and powered by AdCraft Custom Apparel and Merch, your apparel, merch, and uniform experts since 1974. Great folks there to partner with. Well, let's get right into it. Let's take a look at a couple of scores here. Obviously, this one's the big one for the week. Thomas, no longer undefeated, takes a 19-18 loss to St. Thomas. Alexa Wilson was just not quite good enough through the air, 153 yards on 33 passes. Credit the St. Thomas defense for really keeping TU behind the chains, keeping TU very, very frustrated on third downs, 27%. Jada Graham really went off for St. Thomas, 3 receptions, 401 yards. And Holly Neer, man, the former third-string quarterback for St. Thomas, has cemented her spot. 14 of 27, 210, 3 touchdowns. Thomas really just could not do enough defensively and did not have the offense to do it. Thomas would go on to clinch the Sun Conference title with tiebreaker the next day against Florida Memorial, so don't feel too bad for Thomas. Kaiser gets a 58-6 win over Warner, and this looks a little odd, but Warner is a little down on their luck right now after losing quarterback Madison Tingen to a nasty knee injury. Hoping Madison's feeling better, and hopefully it's just a strain or sprain there and not anything more serious. Jasmine Roden was just almost perfect this game. 20 of 26 for 270, 4 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. Reagan Pellegrino was in the Warner backfield all day, 4 pulls, 3 sacks, and a pass breakup. Cynthia Holmes tried, 7 receptions, 62 yards, but Weber just couldn't, or sorry, not Weber. Forgive me, Royals fans. Warner could not get it going. Andrea Rodriguez was 8 of 17 for 78 yards and a touchdown. The offense just wasn't there. 2 of 12 on third and fourth down conversions. Ottawa had no such problems with staying undefeated with a 39-0 win over Bethel. Madison Carrera does Madison Carrera things. 16 of 21 for almost $150 and 5 touchdowns. 79 yards and a touchdown. 5 of 5 in the red zone. This is just what Ottawa does at this point. Really kept Bethel of Kansas down. Kyler Rome, 7 of 23 for 37 yards. And the offense was only 2 of 7 on third down conversions. So what does that do to our top 4 this week? Well, let's take a look. Ottawa takes the spot back from Thomas with 4 votes to Thomas's 1. St. Thomas flips-flops over Kaiser after the big win over Thomas. I'm generally in conventional football, I'm a little annoyed when a team like St. Thomas isn't over a team they beat in Thomas, but that does split the season series for the Thomas teams, and the body of work that Thomas has put in other than this last game proves to me that they should be in that number 2 spot at least for now. But we'll take a quick break, and right after this, we'll be back with more on the NAIAF Ball slightly less than live show.
So you want to create and sell custom merch for your team or business. That's exciting, but where do you begin? How much inventory should you order? How do you distribute orders? AdCraft has your answers. Streamline the way you offer custom merch by utilizing our risk-free web store service. We ship directly to each customer, and we have the fastest turnaround in the game. Raise funds for your team or get merch to your employees and patrons. Contact AdCraft today and let's bring your merch to life.
They are the best in the business, and this is an AdCraft made shirt right here, and I love it. You'll see me wearing it if I'm in an official capacity anywhere. They do a great job. So thankful for their sponsorship and their partnership through the years here. Let's take a look at our top players and performances of the week. The offensive one coming out of the KCAC, Brianna Hernandez-Silva just had a fantastic game. 7 total touchdowns that she is responsible for. 5 through the air, 2 on the ground, 311 yards of total offense or something like that. I can't add. This is terrible. I'm a musician. I go to 6. But more than 300 yards passing there, 301 yards now that I've re-added it in combined yardage there. Just a nice game there for Kansas Wesleyan. And they're getting hot at the right time. Watch out for K-Dub. And then St. Thomas, Miranda Fairdas, nothing flashy except for 14 pulls. And 14 pulls in, I think Thomas ran 56 plays. That's a quarter. That is a quarter of the plays ended in a Miranda Fairdas pull. If you're talking about a 75-play conventional football game, you're getting up near 20 tackles there. That is a beautiful performance from Fairdas against a really good Thomas squad. So let's take a look and see what we've got in our last full week of flag football regular season. It's actually a little bit more than a full week, as we'll have a couple of games on Sunday the 23rd, but let's take a look at it as we've got it. It starts tomorrow at 7 p.m. as Kansas Wesleyan hosts Heston in a nice tune-up game before Kansas Wesleyan rounds out their KCAC schedule against St. Mary and Cotty. Kansas Wesleyan has a chance for a 10-win season here. They're currently sitting at 9-3. Big slate of games on Wednesday. We have Cotty going over and playing at Midland. They will play at 6. Kaiser, number 4 Kaiser, plays Weber in the first of 2 games for Kaiser. That'll be a 2 p.m. game. Midland also plays Fort Scott at 4 p.m. And Thomas has their senior day versus Warner. Catch me there in Thomasville on the Sun Digital Network at the Thomas broadcast. St. Thomas plays the first of 2 as they play Florida Memorial at 6, and at 7 p.m., Ottawa has the nightcap traveling to St. Mary. On Saturday the 22nd, we've got another big slate of games. Bethel goes to St. Mary, or hosts St. Mary, at 2 p.m., but there is a 12 o'clock matinee game, the Crooked Lake rivalry between Weber and Warner. The 2 W schools of Central Florida match up in a rivalry contest. At 2:30 p.m., Kansas Wesleyan plays Cotty. And at 5 p.m., number 4 Kaiser hosts number 3 St. Thomas. Really big game for Sun Conference standings here. And then the nightcap, Ottawa plays at Midland. And on Sunday morning, the 23rd, Reinhardt plays North Carolina Central's squad, and Kansas Wesleyan ends up the regular season against St. Mary. Let's take a look at the teams here and the conferences. Ottawa, Thomas, and Reinhardt have all clinched conference championships It's the NAIA. Reinhardt can have an independent conference championship. It's okay. We'll live. Kansas Wesleyan at 6-2 in the KCAC can clinch that second place spot that they'll need for the KCAC tournament with a good week this week. With one win, one KCAC win, they will wrap up that number 2 spot as they do not play Midland. They've already played them twice and I believe beaten them twice. So one win for K-Dub, and they wrap up that number 2 spot and a 10-win season. Midland's already got a 10-win season overall. They're 5-3 in conference. Cory has had a decent season in conference, going 4-4. They're 5-9 overall. They have a great chance to play up and play strong, but it's going to be tough at Midland, at Kansas Wesleyan. Bethel is 1-7, both in and out of conference there, and St. Mary is 0-8, 0-7. In the Sun Conference, Thomas is 13-1 overall, 8-1 in conference. They have clinched, like I said, as Kaiser is 7-2 overall, 6-2 in conference. Thomas has the season series and has 2 games in hand against them. They have 1 to play, and they are 1 game up with the tiebreaker. Thomas has the Sun. Kaiser has got to... They really need to beat St. Thomas on Saturday to clinch that number 2 spot. Just gives you a little bit better. I'm not 100% certain how the Sun Conference or KCAC conference tournaments are going to occur in terms of that. The Sun may again be a 4-team tournament, so we'll see who gets left out in the cold here. KCAC may do a 4 or 6. I'm not sure yet. St. Thomas is a game behind Kaiser at 5-3, but they do play head-to-head. Kaiser does have the season series right now, but St. Thomas can even that back up. Weber at 8-5 overall is 4-5 in conference. Warner at 8-5 overall is 3-5 in conference. Weber plays Kaiser and Warner. Warner plays Thomas and Weber. So you could very well see if it is a 4-team tournament like it was last year in the Sun, one of Weber and Warner are going to be left out in the cold here, and we'll have to see who it is. It might come down to the last game of the season for these 2 squads. And Florida Memorial is 2-9 overall, 0-9 in conference. So that's a look at that. And, of course, unfortunately, can't take comments if I don't have, if I'm not live. But let's go ahead and look at our patrons. These are the guys that are the GOATs. They definitely help us out on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis, making sure we can do what we do here. And they are DSU Cone, Darren, Bob Boone, Roger Meyer, Jeremy Vobble, Shirley Labella, Fred Christensen, Alex Garcia, Jerry Quickle, Ace Wellen, Marty Seabolt, Justin Cobb, Nick Ryan, Hayden Ferrigno, Kyle Gregory, Tyler Pierce, Justin Hoffman, Steve Speakman, Brian Shake, Julianne Shager, Nate Soapbeer, Stephen Cutler, Julie Lout, Tim Burrow, Dale Norton, and Nathan Moore. Thanks to those guys for helping us do what we do, and we will see you back next week after the end of another great flag regular season, and we'll be breaking down the conference tournaments and taking a look forward to Atlanta. Thank you, good night, and we will see you on the Twitter feed.